Hey, happy Halloween and welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. This is not going to work. That is also not really my Halloween costume, but well, maybe I'll use it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find a use for it. Today is Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires. This is the latest chapter. It came out earlier this year, summertime, I think. And I made it our Halloween episode for this year, possibly our last Halloween episode of this entire series. It's been going on for almost 6 years. I have a feeling that I'm going to run out of everything on Disney Plus to watch sometime early next year. We'll see. I've been keeping track of the new stuff, and yeah. And speaking of new, this is the newest one, and it technically, from the looks of it, could be the last one. Of course, I think we've always seen this as the last film being always the last film, but hey, you know what? Milo and Meg, they've done their run for the most part, as much as everybody loves them. And, if you're a big fan of the Zombies franchise, they're always fun to watch together. But they're grown up. They're in college now, and that their characters are in college now. I don't know. They might be in their 30s for all I know. But either way, they're all about making good, fun time monster media. Like I guess you can call it that. This is from 2025. It is an hour and 28 minutes long, and everything is good in Seaport or whatever it's called, Sunnyside. Shady. No, that's the name of the other local that towns were introduced to. This Seabrook is the name of the town where monsters all live, and they really didn't get along with each other for the first three films, and all the little animated spin-offs and all the other things that have gone on throughout the years. But they're all in a good place right now. So in this one, I'm not going to spoil anything important, I should say, other than the fact that I feel this is the last run with Zed and Addison as the main stars. I'll get to that in a little bit, but basically what we have here is two new cultures, people that are introduced in this: the Daywalkers and the vampires, and they eat blood fruit. It's Disney, okay? I mean, it's edgy enough that there's zombies in this, and they do crave brains, and they were really a whole lot grosser in the first films when it came to talking about eating brains. Like, wasn't it like artificial brains or something at some point? I can't remember. It's been so long. And then there was. This is a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen the other films. Things like werewolves and aliens and all sorts of other things that come into play throughout the series. Again, it's all about really different cultures and different people wanting the same thing but going about it differently, or pretty much the same in the sense that they just hate people who are different. They don't understand other cultures. They come into contact with them, they fight, they don't get along, and then they learn that the other people are really not that bad. They're really just like them. They just look different. They act different. They come from a different place. And then they learn to live with each other without prejudice, without hate. It's a good message to give to kids, which this is focused on. This is not as mature as Twilight. No, this is not as mature as any vampire or zombie or alien or werewolf or whatever type of monster film there is, and that's okay. Not everything has to be universal monsters. Not everything has to be blood and guts and gore and monster stuff. This is for like tweens who like upbeat singing and dancing, all this synchronized dancing that they do, and not this all the synchronized dancing that they there's a song for just about every situation when they need to explain their feelings, or if they need to fight, but instead of fight they sing about it, and it cuts back and forth between the two cultures as they work out their issues, as people try to understand if they're in love, or try to talk themselves out of being in love when they can't deny it. We've had this all go. We've had the characters that we watch in these films go through that multiple times. And it pretty much Meg and Milo are stars as Addison and Zed. They admit in a sense that we've already been through this before. We're just gonna watch. We're just gonna sort of step back and see how it all unfolds because they've seen it all before. In fact, we have the Daywalkers and the vampires, and they are just two cultures that are connected in some way because they both want the blood fruit. But night and day, it's pretty basic. The vampires, they don't drink human blood. They don't prey on humans in any way, or monsters or anything. They eat fruit. They're technically vegetarians. We have a werewolf in this story. That's Willa, played by Chandler Kinney. She, of course, is a little bit more bloodthirsty. This is just. It's almost rated. Is this? I mean, it's not got to be rated G. It's not. Yeah, it's TVG because it's not really a theater film. Excuse me. It was not in theater, so it can't be motion picture associated rated. So it's TVG. So again, you're not going to have little kids freaked out by anything scary in these things, and that's okay. There's danger. There's little bits of moments where you're just not sure the heroes are going to win. And who is the hero? Is it the vampires? Well, they're traditionally evil, aren't they? Are the Daywalkers? Are they the real heroes? Is there a forbidden love affair between two individuals from either group that are brought together in this moment? There is. There's gonna be. It's just the way it works. So yeah, when Milo, and I keep calling him Milo and Meg, when Zed and Addison aren't talking to us, breaking the fourth wall, giving us narration, explaining what happened in the previous films, high level stuff, they're looking right at the camera sometimes, going, "We know that what's going to happen, right?" That's basically what they're doing, and they see themselves in these new leads, played by Malachi Barton plays Victor, and Freya Sky plays Nova, and she's a Daywalker, he's a vampire. And they're tragically in love. They've seen each other in their dreams. And they're, for some reason, children who've been given the power to lead their respective cultures while the parents just head off somewhere. The adults head off. And it's everything is a little bit contrived in the sense that when our heroes that we know, between Zed, Addison, Willa, and Eliza, who's also there, also a zombie. By the way, just so you know, this is really stripped down character-wise. All of the cast that you know from the previous films, except for these four that I just mentioned, are not in this film. If they are, they're in the background for like a half second. I really doubt they showed up just for scale. It's unlikely that they got paid. If they did show up, like paid well enough to show up. So I didn't notice anybody. Like little sister, dad, all the stuff from Zed's family, they're not there. But because it's really about the focus, establishing these new cultures, this new rivalry, and solving a problem. And essentially, somehow, everybody gets caught up into this summer camp that somehow Zed and Addison and Willa and Eliza are sort of now the counselors for. And there's bunks for vampires and there's bunks for Daywalkers. Already, like, there's an ancient culture that has established this and set up like a puzzle game, like a puzzle quest to solve a mystery of how to get into the vineyard or orchard, the orchard where these fruits exist and they can get access to. But of course, each side wants it all for themselves. At least the parents do, based on not trusting the other side because of ancient rivalries, prejudices, and everything else. So much of this is 100% about breaking away from the cyclical attitudes of previous generations that have just raised them on hate and prejudice and old ways that are not necessary. In the past, it might have been something that was done out of protection, out of a desire to be dominant, and also something done out of fear. It's a direct reflection of our own culture around the world. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. And this tells that story. Kids aren't dumb. Kids might see something as they're growing up and like, I saw something like that in Zombies 4. And probably also 1, 2, and 3. Just, I saw something. That is, you know what? Those kids could figure it out and work together to make a better culture that serves everyone, not just one or the other. And when even the parents, the older generation says, we must fight and we must destroy those who are different from us, you can stand up and do what's right. Yeah, it's disobeying your parents is kind of part of the story. Not in a specific sense at home. But when you see something wrong and you know what's right, and it isn't born out of hate, you can make a change. That is essentially, what you get with this kind of story. It's not complicated. I realize I'm telling you stuff that you will figure out by watching this for a whole 5 minutes. You'll understand that's what's probably going to happen, even though there are a number of left turns, like suddenly they're in a camp, a summer camp, and our heroes are the leaders of it. And of course, song breaks out throughout. Whenever some conflict needs to be expressed in a strong, emotional, and often sometimes fun, sometimes earnest way, well, guess what? Yeah, singing and dancing always comes to the rescue. Or at least spreads out the plot a bit. Just sort of keeps it flowing. Every 10 minutes you're going to get a song. This is only an hour and a half long, so there's a good amount of songs. And sometimes you just get a little bit from a character or two, and sometimes you get a big production. Of course, there's always a big final production, and there's also a big cliffhanger ending. And so I said, yeah, this is probably the last Zed and Addison starring Zombies movie. In fact, there might not ever be technically a Zombies movie ever again. I could be wrong. I haven't read any details. Some people who know more about the zombies, who live in the Zombies universe, know more than I do. But I have a feeling that there could be a spin-off of films with these new characters. And maybe we'll get a cameo from Zed and Addison. Just, hey, how's everybody doing? Oh, we're doing great. By the way, I realize that, spoiler, Addison's an alien. But her abilities seem limited to saying, I'm an alien, and looking at her glowy wristband and going, see, I'm an alien. It just... What? I mean, like, Zed, every once in a while, takes off his, control bracelet or disengages his control bracelet so he zombies out and gets super strong and angry and more, bestial kind of thing. He doesn't start trying to bite people. I mean, he's got that much under control. It wasn't like that at the beginning, but doesn't try to bite anybody. He just uses it to, fix architecture and lift rocks when necessary. But as powers and abilities start getting thrown out of whack, there's a big risk that he might not be able to come back the next time he zombies out. So, we get a nice little send-off, at least at the very end of the film, between Addison and Zed. They have their own little kind of romantic dance on a sunny hillside. Looks like Northern California, but it's probably Canada. along the shore, like high above the waters on a cliffside. It's a lovely scene, and then we get to see Eliza and Willa at the end of the film, and they all hug, and it kind of has a feeling like this is the last time we're ever going to do this. That's what it feels like to me. So, if you're a big fan of the gang and the films, and yet nobody's telling you that these are like the greatest films ever made. Even the people who are in them will never tell you this. I hope that they enjoyed making these things, and I hope that as much as the people who love them and love the stories and the performances and the silliness and the comedy and I mean, Milo is a big physical. He's a tall guy, but he's a big physical actor, and I'm hoping that he gets to employ that in more ways as he goes on to other roles. And Addison, I mean, they're all talented singers, dancers, and everything else. And Addison, I think I've seen her in other stuff. I can't remember what. I'm not going to touch on her profile in IMDb because I'll just end up going down a rabbit hole, I'm sure. But yeah, this is a foundational thing. If you want to start your kids on a whole new monster world, yeah, this is your chance. You got to watch this. And of course, also if you're a zombies fan, yeah, this feels like a capper. Feels like a capper. And it don't take my word. I don't know anything. I'm not saying this is the last one, but it probably feels like the last one. At least with them as the stars. So I said that way too much, and I'm sorry, but this has a wonderful new young cast, and they even say at one point, it feels like we're handing this off to you. Like, I think Milo says that. Like, we're handing this off to you. So it's not just coming out of my head. It just... You can't say later on, what, there's no more zombies filmed? Where this came out of nowhere? No, these people are growing up. They probably have kids of their own at this point. They're not kids anymore. And not everybody can hold on to those fantastic looks for too much longer. They can't keep looking like they're 19. Just... Oh, by the way, the other big... the big sort of message and purpose of this story is to basically tell people to cherish the moments you have with the people in your lives rather than being so obsessed with certain things that keep you away from the people who are important to you. So like at the beginning, Addison is all about becoming the cheer captain, and Zed is trying to be the best guy on the football team without having to use his zombie powers. It's a very small little thing, but at the same time, they're totally tweaked in trying to accomplish those. Even when they're with their friends, they're completely distracted. And they have their opportunity with this sudden detour on their little road trip, this little detour that takes them into contact with these other cultures that says we're going to use our expertise to show these kids a better way on their crazy key quest thing. They're like, we know how this movie ends. We made 3 of them. So yeah, so if you're not into the zombies thing or the song and dance kind of thing, yeah, it's not for you. It's all right. It's for the kids. Let the kids enjoy it. But if you're also a middle-aged woman drinking wine some night, you just feel like watching pretty people dance and sing, and just for some silly fun, go for it. Or middle-aged dude. I can't say that I'm going to turn this on anytime just to watch it for fun myself, but I wouldn't be put off if I had a kid in my life that was like, I really want to watch zombies. I would not say, you know what, that's a bad idea. Let's watch something from Quentin Tarantino. No, that's never going to happen. So these are eminently watchable and worthwhile checking out. Especially this, if you want to wrap things up, at least in my head. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 73. What do we got? I can't believe I spent 20 minutes on this. Oh my gosh. We get another one of these People in Places shorts. They're not shorts, but they are like 15, 20 minutes long or so. This is People in Places, I Scream, You Scream. See, there's 4 of them here. We've already done one. This will be our second one. And so this will be a pretty easy watch for our Saturday. That's what we're going to do. People in Places, I Scream, You Scream is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Happy Halloween.